Well, joining us now live from Coutts, Alberta, via his cell phone is our friend Kian Simone. We also lovingly call him K2. Kian, great to see you. I know it's very cold outside. Give us the latest. Chad Williamson, our lawyer, has arrived. I understand he's met with police. What news do you have?
Well, actually, right at the moment, I just heard from Sid, the other reporter here. Just on the highway, they are starting enforcement. So he just buggered off to go cover that. I'm just going to stay here with the truckers who are at the smuggler saloon, as they call it. Yeah, so the final negotiations happened today, just a short hour ago, where the RCMP walked in and said, you either move your trucks or you're arrested. They didn't continue any further than that. The truckers asked, can we have some communication without any demands? We want to talk. We want to figure this out in a peaceful resolution. And it was a fat no, Ezra. Chad gave us an update after, just explaining the same thing, and he's very disappointed that he came out here to be able to be a proper counsel and a strong, firm voice for them. And the RCMP aren't listening now.
Let me ask you, were you there when the police said this?
Yes. It's now on Twitter. We sent it in. They're very firm. They're not budging on the move in or get arrested and held here. The truckers, in response to that, they're not budging. They're parking their trucks into ditches, so it's harder to be towed. And above this, the checkpoints that were around Coutts, Alberta, not letting food in, not letting supplies in, not letting medicine in for people who have conditions. I guess they needed the resources, so those just completely open. And more convoys from all around Alberta are coming in here, so it's going to be a tough time for the RCMP to get all these hundreds and now more hundreds of people out of here.
This is really going on in real time. I'm just looking at your Twitter feed here. We're now going to play a clip. This is amazing reportage by you and Sydney Fazard in the room when the police lay down their ultimatum. Let's take a look at that clip now that I'm literally looking off your Twitter feed.
I don't know. What do you do next? How long can you stay? Forever. 2 weeks.
We will stay.
Yeah.
No, we will stay. We will stay. We can make this easy too. Yeah. For you guys, is by you guys working with us. Yeah. Like we're in this together. We all want the same thing. We want this stuff done. No mandates. They have to be finished.
This
and we're not
just
here
about a message.
to cause issues. The minute restrictions get taken down, we'll leave.
We get that the message has been delivered, but it hasn't helped. Like, everything's still the same.
That's right. This whole media thing that we're just a little fringe minority, there is more and more happening, just so you guys know. This is not a small fringe minority.
Okay. What's your name, sir?
My name is George.
George?
Yes.
I appreciate you bringing that out and talking on behalf of the group.
Right.
You got to have somebody that's willing to speak up and talk. I get that. That's why I'm here today. Is to be the one on behalf of the RCMP that's speaking up and talking to you guys.
Right.
What we have been told to impart upon you is that today is the day that you're opening the highway. And the reason that that's happening is because we've been instructed to do so by the people that are in charge of us.
So when will you guys stand up for us?
When you
like,
say that,
are you guys not tired? Like, do you not have families?
Absolutely.
Do you not have families that this affects?
Yes.
Like, this is the time where we all work together. We need you guys to make a choice as well today to stand with us to make this change. Amen. We have so much going on right now. We have so much support right now. You guys can decide to say F you to your superiors and say we're not doing this anymore.
It's happened in other police forces.
You know, it has to.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. That's
I
not
know
an
that.
option that we'd have.
Yes,
you do.
Yes,
You have the option.
We can
That's
do
the
it.
one
You
choice
can do
you
it.
do have.
Do it.
Do it right now.
Do it.
You have the
I
option.
want to
Thank you. Humanity.
You'd rather come in and strong arm, no negotiations, really? That's your process?
That is absolutely incredible footage. I literally just watched that now. You just posted that to Twitter. I don't think this is very rare reportage to be in the room as police negotiate with the truckers. You can see our lawyer, Chad Williamson, there. The police deaf to his appeals. The police making it clear that they're following orders. They're not quite clear who the orders are from. I should tell our viewers who are unfamiliar with how policing works in rural parts of Alberta, it is the federal RCMP, the Mounties, who are the police, but they are on a contract with the provincial government to provide rural policing. Other provinces like Ontario or Quebec have their own provincial police forces. Alberta does not. I wonder if these cops are taking orders from Justin Trudeau in Ottawa or from Jason Kenney in Alberta. And please don't tell me the fiction that politics doesn't apply to policing. I've just observed too much in the last 2 years to believe that anymore. So K2, you say that the police have begun enforcing. So basically they've got, I presume, heavy-duty tow trucks, the kind of tow trucks that would be needed to lift a semi-trailer, like a tractor trailer. Is that right?
Yeah, I can't confirm the tow trucks. I know that they had them in Milk River, and they were ready. And amazing enough, Sid ran over there to check it out. When he says enforcement, they could just be arresting people, or they could be moving people out of the way so that they could come here. To the point before of the RCMP talking with the protesters and Chad, we don't know where the order came from. They did just say higher up. So politically, I'm not sure, but the supporters. Sorry, I'm freezing here. the supporters. They asked, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to fight for us? And the police said that's not a choice. And it caused a big rift between them. And I think that's where a lot of the tension started, where they do have a choice, and the protesters were not happy with how this is going.
Yeah, now I haven't looked deeply and carefully at what the police said in full. Did they say what the arrests were for? I mean, when you arrest someone, you as a cop, you typically have to say what the arrest is for. And if someone is in a restaurant and their truck is out there, I can't imagine what the charge would be. Mischief, maybe some traffic offense, like when I park somewhere illegally, I get a traffic ticket. Maybe it's under the Highway Traffic Act or something. Do you know what the charges are?
So yesterday, during the 3 sets of negotiations, there were the RCMP officers suggested that it could be traffic violations for tickets, critical infrastructure, and one more. They said criminal code, but they didn't go any further than that. Today, during the negotiation, their demand was that they're opening up the highway regardless. That'd be RCMP. So maybe it's an obstruction of justice that could be. I'm not too sure. They didn't actually say what they would be arresting them for. Right.
Very interesting. And of course, police can charge whatever they want, whether or not those charges hold up. I would imagine, I mean, like if you're parked in a handicapped parking spot, if you're parked in a lane, you can be towed. You're not going to be charged with a crime. I don't know what would happen in a mischief charge. Mischief is almost a catch-all criminal offense. You mentioned that critical infrastructure law. Politicians who hate democratic, peaceful protests have started to bring in these laws to ban protests they don't like outside a politician's home, in front of a hospital, for example. By the way, I'm not sure if protesting outside a hospital or a home is the best choice to make. But both are public places, and we believe in the right to protest, even if politicians don't like it. It would be an interesting test of that law to have it applied to these truckers at a border crossing. Well, this is very interesting, K2, and I know you're extremely cold there, and it's probably hard to hold the phone in your hands. I was in extremely cold Ottawa, too. I can't thank you enough for your coverage. You and Sydney were on the phone yesterday when I personally spoke to the truckers, and I said that we would crowdfund their legal defense. Here's my thinking on that. Everyone deserves a lawyer, and especially people who don't have access to justice, can't afford a great lawyer, don't know how to hire a lawyer, don't know how to get one to come down quickly. So I feel really good that we're able to get Chad there and another lawyer with them, Marty, and there's another lawyer, part of their team, that if they do face these charges, will fight the charges. I believe everyone has the right to a lawyer, and I'm very proud that we're doing that at truckerlawyer.ca. Can you tell me about the mood of the men? I was not there last night. I was just on the other end of the phone when we agreed to crowdfund their lawyers. You've spent a few days with these men now. Just end with on a maybe a personal observation or an emotional observation. What's it been like to be amongst these holdouts who have decided to make a stand on principle?
You know, these truckers, they're not scared. They've been acting like a family this whole time. They've been making decisions as a whole group, not just one person or even not just 5 people. It's been all hundreds of them have been making these decisions together. They've been taking votes. They've also obviously had their bickering. They've had their disagreements, but it was like being at a family dinner table. And it has truly been amazing to see them gather together like this. There's been no it's just frustration, and that's basically the vibe you get in there. But when they're eating together, it's all smiles and it's hugging, and they know that they're fighting for freedom. That's what they say. They say some of them, aren't even truckers. They just came here to support, and they said, you know, our family is fine, we're okay, but we're here to fight for other families too. So it's that's what's going on here. That's what it's on repeat. That's what they say. It's on repeat that they're fighting for other people's freedoms, and they're doing this. They're standing tall.
Very interesting. It'll be interesting from the prosecutor's or police point of view. How do you prosecute, and who do you prosecute? If there's a truck on the road, who put it there? I mean, I suppose you could say, well, who's the owner and who's the driver? But is that enough to charge someone with a particular offense? If someone is just there out of solidarity, have they committed an offense if they're just hanging out of the restaurant? I think the police are smart enough not to touch you in Sydney, who are there as reporters, but you never know. I mean, Trudeau's RCMP beat up our reporter in Toronto last month, our friend David Menzies. So you never know what the RCMP might do. I think the presence of your cameras is having a salutary effect. It's probably keeping the police from going full Waco. You said one thing, you said hundreds. How many people are there? How many trucks and how many people are there?
So before the checkpoint opened up and more are coming in, I haven't been able to see that, but for the past day and a half, I heard someone say that it was 200 trucks are blocking, and someone said 500 people, and that is people still in their trucks. You know, it's they take shifts almost, basically coming in and out of the smuggler's saloon.
And that's why they brought the diesel fuel, because these guys are in their trucks. They need to run their trucks to stay warm, to have electricity. They're sleeping in their sleeper cabs, really, because Coutts is a tiny town. There might be a motel or two, but they're not going to have room for 500 guys. That's very interesting, because I saw that room last night. It was a big room, and it was full of guys.
Yeah, and they're not even able to fit in there sometimes, you know. Yeah. So people are behind the bar and in the kitchen and downstairs. It is packed in there.
And how are they treating you and Sydney? I mean, you two are fairly new rebels. You've both been with the company for, I'm going to say, approximately a year. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, but you've both been on TV. You've both done civil liberties reporting. You both traveled around. I mean, this is your time to shine. You guys are doing a great job under high stress situations. I know you've been sleeping just barely. Oh, do you have to go there? Is something happening there?
No, the RCMP is just pulling away.
All right.
Beside me.
I'll let you go in 1 minute. I just am curious on a personal level, because I think that one of the reasons you're accepted there, and that they talked to us, they asked us for help in the whole world. Who did they go to? It was quite an honor to be asked for help. I said, of course, you were on the call. I think it's because they just don't trust the establishment.
That's exactly it. The other mainstream media that has been here, they have been unable to get a proper interview. Not in any hostile way at all. They've offered them food. They've offered them coffee. They just don't want their story twisted. Yeah. They've treated us great. They've treated us with respect. They've been feeding us too. They've been offering any services that we need, whether it even be fuel for the car here. That's basically stuck. They're very happy that we're telling the entire story. And I told them that it's one thing to be here, but it's almost just easier to film the entire thing and say, this is what's going on. And they're so happy that is. And one more point on the, when they asked for help, when we agreed and everything happened with sending Chad out here and fundraising, they were almost in tears. They were hugging, patting each other on the back, or they're hugging me when we're on speakerphone. They're saying, thank you so much. And I think that just helped them know that, that people people care, and we got their backs.
Well, that's great. And not everyone is used to the world of lawyers. Not everyone knows, well, how do you hire a lawyer and which lawyer and how much do you pay them and how do you keep in control? Like there's it's not something most people know how to do. Thank God most people don't have to know that. That is something that over the years we've gotten better at here at Rebel News. We know Chad, and I knew he would be a perfect fit. So I'm glad that we were able to help them. And I think that it is a perfect Rebel activity. I mean, the three things we do. We report the news. That's just straight up what happens. We give our opinion. We call that news analysis. Here's what I think about the news, and here's how I'm looking at the news. And the third thing we do is advocacy. In this case, we're helping folks get access to justice that they simply would not have been able to do on their own, I think. I mean, maybe they have more. I mean, that's not for me to say, but to get Chad Williamson down there in time and to tell these guys their legal rights, I feel that's an accomplishment. I bet a lot's going to go down today and tomorrow, so stay safe. Keep posting to Twitter. Keep phone if you need any help. The lawyers are there, so I think you're fine on the legal side. I don't know how long or how far this is going to go. If folks want to follow this, we have a website now. We call it truckerlawyer.ca. You could chip in if you want to help cover the cost of Chad Williamson and Marty. I don't know, K2, I'm really proud of what you're doing. Say hi to Sydney for me also and the men there, and stay warm, stay safe, get some rest, but also be there when it goes down because we have to show the world.
Yeah, we're not leaving here, Ezra, until this is all settled and we get the full story. Just thank you for having me on.
Right on. There it is. Kian K2 Simone, Rebel reporter based in Calgary, now down in Coutts, Alberta, covering the blockade. Stay with us. That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.